another weekend of football, another Strictly Auburn episode. It's week 6 against Georgia. A big game for the Auburn Tigers. It's being played in Athens. A tough road game for this Auburn Tigers, but let's talk about UJ just for a little bit. So they played Missouri last week, got a close dub, 26-22. Did you watch that game, Jake?
I did, yeah. They looked a little bit human there for a minute, but
Right.
they ended up coming away with a win. So it just goes to show how Kirby Smart and this team is truly a juggernaut to college football.
Yeah, Auburn hasn't won in Athens since 2005. We were only 4 years old at the time. So yeah, a really big game for the Auburn Tigers.
Yeah.
They have, Stetson Bennett's been pretty good for these Georgia Bulldogs. They got Brock Bowers, a sophomore tight end that plays more like a stud receiver than a tight end. And they have a really good running back in Kenny McIntosh as well.
Yeah, Brock Bowers, he'll line up in the slot a little bit, and he'll run routes like a slot receiver. He is only a sophomore, won a national championship as a freshman, so he's a stud on this Georgia offense. So beyond just this game, he'll be a stud for them for the rest of this season and next year too.
Yeah, I think our defense actually matches up pretty well against Georgia. Really good. Our DBs will play fine against them, and our defense has really improved from 2 weeks ago. So I'm really excited about this game. Georgia had 2 fumbles last week, and they didn't score a touchdown until the fourth quarter. So, a lot of people would talk about how scary their offense looks. They really didn't look too crazy last week. So.
No, they looked human. I mean, they fumbled the ball twice. They didn't score a touchdown until early in the fourth quarter. So they looked like a beatable football team. I'm not sure that this Auburn team's capable of going to Athens and winning for the first time in whatever it is, like 17 years. But yeah, hopefully they can put up a good fight.
Yeah, we haven't won in Athens since 2005, but hopefully, for us to win against them in this Saturday game, our offense has to play well, and our offense has to score the touchdown, or score the ball, and actually finish the football game. So, Robbie Ashford's leading the way. He's 1-1 as a starter. This will be his 3rd game as a college football player. What do you want to see from him in this game?
I want to see Ashford make some throws again. I mean, I said this a couple weeks ago. I said it last week. I want to see him sit in the pocket and sling the football. I think when he sits in the pocket, he makes good reads, and I think he makes decent throws, and that's only going to get better with time and experience. I think he still has a little bit of happy feet, likes to run a little bit more than he likes to throw, and he's definitely more comfortable on his feet than he is running the football, than throwing the football. So look for that. I want to see Robbie slinging around a little bit more.
Yeah, me as well. They let him throw it 38 times last week. We'll probably have to see that again this week. To beat a team like Georgia, you have to have two things in your offense. You have to be able to run the ball, and you have to be able to throw the ball. So hopefully Robbie can keep improving like he did last week, which I think he will. But I want to also see Tank Bigsby run the ball. I mean, he only had 12 attempts last week. I think he needs to see at least like 20, 25 attempts. We got to give our best player the ball. So we really need to see him this weekend. What do you think?
Yeah, I would like to see Tank get the ball a little bit more. Whether it's him or Jarquez, I'm not bugging for either one. I like both of them. So I would like to see between our 2 running backs, I would like to see him get somewhere between 25 and 30 touches between both of them. I would like to see touches though. They don't necessarily got to be run plays up the middle or stretches. I would like to see these 2 guys catch balls in the flat. I would like to see them catching screens or whatever, check downs over the middle of the field. They're going to be open. If you're Robbie Ashford, just find them, get them the ball, and let them do their thing in open space.
Right, yeah. And talk about receivers, Coy Moore and Javaris Johnson, they both had 2 really good games besides Coy's Moore interception, which was kind of a weird play to call in the end zone. But, yeah, we just need to see those guys keep stepping up and, making plays and just doing their thing. I think they're having a decent season. We just got to target them more. Coy Moore only had 4 receptions. Javaris only had 3, so we just got to target them more. So.
Yeah, I want to see the football IQ improve a little bit. If you're going to run if you're Brian Harsin and you're going to call those trick plays that we saw him run a whole bunch at Boise State, that crap's not going to work in the SEC. Like, you're sitting inside the 15-yard line. You can't run some double wide receiver pass to a sophomore who honestly hadn't had a good game. That trickeration doesn't work. Stick to your bread and butter. Get your skill position players the ball in open space and let them work. Let your best players do the work.
Yeah, just to talk about to wrap our offense for these guys to look good and score some touchdowns. Like I mentioned last week, they have to have quick throws, and we got to be able to pass the ball. And obviously, we have to be able to. I want to see Tank basically get the ball more. I don't think we've seen him enough this season. He's our best player, and he's getting 12, 15 attempts a game, which is just not enough for that guy. Especially for him, he wants the ball and he wants to help this team out. So hopefully we'll see that. But what do you think this offense needs to do to win this game?
I mean, so I already said I want to see the skill position guys get the ball in open space, check downs and screens. I also want to see some better play calling. I'm not the best head coach. I'm not saying I'd make the best head coach, but I do know what's bad and what's good. And I know that our play calling has been bad. Seeing our fourth down play calls last game, we mentioned on our post game, our recap pod, we didn't like the fourth down play calls that Harsin had, whether they were deep shots on 3rd and 10 or 4th and 10. We wanted to see those shots being taken on early downs, first down or second and short. Let your running backs work early in series, and let your quarterbacks work later, and take some shots, and let Robbie work with his legs.
Yeah, you made some good points. It's gonna be a really, really hard task put up for our offense to do either of those things against this Georgia defense. Georgia's defense is really, really good. We thought they lost so many guys in the draft, and they just kind of reloaded and have pretty much the same level of talent on the defense, which is wild to me. But yeah, it's gonna be a daunting task for this offense. Hopefully the Tigers can get it done, but we'll see Saturday. So we'll talk about the defense. Defense actually looked pretty good against Missouri. They held to 17 points and looked really good. They applied some pressure. DBs did really well. Colby Wooden had a really great game, a sack, 2 tackles for a loss. How do you think the D-line did as an overall unit?
I thought they looked really, really good last week. I mean, compared to what we had seen for the first few games this season against Mercer, San Jose State, I think we both can agree that they were underperforming extremely. Mm-hmm. And the last couple weeks, they've really stepped up. They've showed up. Derek Hall has played really well. Marcus Harris has played really well. Colby Wooden's played really, really well. They are going to be down Eku Leota the rest of the season. He's done for the year with a pec injury, so we're obviously not going to see him this week.
Yeah.
But I'm looking out for guys like Derek Hall and Colby Wooden to keep up the pressure on the quarterback and make Stetson Bennett make some mistakes.
Yeah, you mentioned Derek Hall and Colby Wooden, but I think Marcus Harris has been really, really good player for this defense so far. I mean, I feel like he's been kind of at the back on the other team, behind the line, just making plays, man. So look for his name to be called a couple of times. The only thing I wish this defense would tighten up is just our linebacking core. Wesley Steiner and Cam Riley and the guys like Owen. They're making plays, but I don't really see them wrapping up and fitting the gaps as well as they should be. So for this defense matching up against Georgia, we really need that to happen. They have a really good running back, and they're going to be hitting guys across the middle, and so they just got to play good coverage and fit the gaps.
Yeah, I think the key for this Auburn defense this week is going to be to stick to their assignments. Because we're good enough to hold. We're good enough on paper. I mean, skill wise, we're good enough to keep up with them. So I think if this team can can stick to their assignments better than they have the past few weeks, I think they have a shot at keeping Georgia under a bazillion points.
100%. But yeah, so is there anything else you want to mention about either our offense or our defense, compared to Georgia?
Well, I do want to mention special teams. I think
go ahead.
Georgia does everything really well on all three sides of the ball, offense, defense, special teams. I think for Auburn to compete, our special teams is going to have to step up a little bit. Keontae Scott with 2 fumbles, 1 lost. Andres Carlson with too many missed field goals to be considered sure-footed. We need to see sure-fired Andres Carlson back out there. I want to see him more confident. I want to see Keontae Scott more confident in his returns because I think if we're going to beat Georgia, we got to do some crazy stuff, whether it's a special team score or a defensive score.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We need to see the special teams improve, especially going really into the thick of this SEC schedule. You're 100% right. I'm ready. You ready to talk about some over-unders? Some over-unders and get that going?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's get it. Yeah, let's bring Connor in.
All right, come on, Connor. Go ahead and hop in with us. Let's talk some over-unders. There he is. How you doing, Connor?
Doing great. How are you guys doing?
Doing good. We're excited about this
Doing
football
good.
game, man.
Oh yeah.
So
Me as well. A little nervous, but
hey, I think everybody's nervous about this one for sure. For sure. So you want to go ahead and talk about the first one, Jake?
Yeah, so we got a 29.5-point spread this week as Auburn heads into Athens. Do y'all think we're going to cover that 29.5-point spread? Eli, I'll start with you.
Yes, I think we do. It's really going to be – the pressure is going to be on our defense just to hold Georgia. But I think this offense might find something. We improved, from that Missouri game. We looked a lot better from that game. So I think offense might start be finding their groove a little bit. So, yes, I think we cover.
absolutely, yeah, I agree. I think that Georgia's offense has been pretty lackluster the past 2 weeks. They've been struggling to score. They haven't been struggling to win games, but they haven't looked like the Georgia team I saw against Oregon or South Carolina. And then last week, in the first half, really the first quarter, Auburn's offense looked dialed in. They looked really good. If we bring that energy to Athens for the full game, or maybe even a half, I think we cover.
So I think earlier in the week I would have said Georgia's going to cover. The spread has gone up, but there's been so much money put on the UGA side of the line. It was originally set at 28 points. It's now gone up by 1.5 points to 29.5. I think Auburn covers 29.5. I think UGA wins this game by a handful of touchdowns, but I don't think Georgia covers 29.5. Next up, we got the over/under on the game is 48.5. What are y'all thinking there?
I think it'll be over by a small margin, just because I think Auburn's going to score hopefully a couple touchdowns, and Georgia's definitely going to score. Although both of our defenses aren't terribly bad. I mean, Georgia has one of the best defenses in the country, but they haven't been proving it the past couple of weeks. I think we're going to be over.
Yeah.
Eli, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with the under on this one. I was just thinking about it. I think both these defenses are really, really improving each week. Last week we had a really good game against LSU. So, I think it's going to be a really, really tough, pound them game. Both these defenses are going to have great games. So, yeah, I think it's going to be under.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over on this one. I think this one's going to push the over in the waning minutes of the game, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown in garbage time once this game's said and finished. I think this game's going to go over 48.5. Moving on to the next one, Stetson Bennett, the Georgia quarterback, over under 250 passing yards. Eli, what do you think?
Oh, man, I think I'm going to have to go under. This defense is going to be coming. I think Derek Hall is going to rip Stetson Bennett's arm off and hopefully eat it for dinner that night. Yeah, I'm going to have to go under.
Connor?
Just based on the fact that Stetson's lowest passing yardage game was 272, I believe, or somewhere in the 270 mark. That just it'd be great if we saw Bennett throw for under 250 or even under 200. I don't think that he's going to get to 300, but I do see him throwing over the 250 mark.
Yeah, as do I. I see him crossing that 250 mark with ease. The last bet we got, do you think Auburn's going to score a rushing touchdown this week against UGA's stellar front seven? Eli, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Tank's going to get one. I think Robbie's going to run for one. Robbie had one against Mercer, I believe, or was it? No, it wasn't Mercer. It was who was it?
San Jose State.
San Jose State was, yeah. We know Robbie can use his legs really well. So I think Tank will get one. I think Robbie's going to tackle on as well.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I'd love to see 2 touchdowns. I think that one or the other will happen, hopefully. I definitely think we're going to have a rushing touchdown, though, this week, whether it be a small little punch-in from Tank or Jarquez at the goal line or, if Robbie gets happy feet in the pocket and he finds way to the end zone. I think either way, it's going to happen at least once.
I like that. I'm going to rock with no. For the sole reason I want to see lots and lots of screens and checkdowns to our running backs and Coy Moore, Camden Brown. I want to see our best players get the ball in open space and make plays with their feet. That just about does it for our for bets. Let's talk about some big games and SEC games as well. Let's start with number 8 Tennessee in the Bayou taking on number 25 LSU. Eli, I'll start with you. Who do you got in that one?
Yeah, Death Valley's getting pretty crazy. I got to talk to some fans last week. Those guys are, they're crazy. But Tennessee's offense has really been lighting it up. Hendon Hooker has a robot arm, it seems like. So I got Tennessee in this one.
Connor?
Yeah, me as well. I have the Volunteers here. Hooker and company, they're rolling on offense right now. One of the best offenses in the country. Hooker's really one of the best quarterbacks, I'd say in the SEC right now. LSU proved to me that they're really not that good of a team last week, and I think Tennessee's one of the things they lack the most is their defense, but I don't think it's going to show that much against a super deprived LSU offense. Like although they did beat us last week, they shouldn't have, especially with the offense they showcased in the second half. So I have the Volunteers here.
Yeah, as do I. I got to take Tennessee as well. So clean sweep for the Volunteers. How about Arkansas at 23-ranked Mississippi State? Connor, I'll start with you. Oh, or Eli. Either one.
I'm going to... All week, I was leaning towards Arkansas just because I really liked the Arkansas team earlier this season. And each week they prove to me how not good they are. I'm not going to say they're bad yet, but their secondary has been exposed the past 2 weeks terribly. Alabama put on a show against them, and they went to sleep for a minute, and Arkansas came back. That game, the score didn't prove to show that it wasn't close. I don't think that Arkansas has much of an up, and especially since it's in Starksville too. Mississippi State looked great against A&M last week. Ever since that LSU loss, they've been getting better. So I have the Bulldogs here.
Eli?
Yeah, I got Mississippi State in this one. It's in Starksville. Those Cowboys are gonna be really loud, and A&M, like you said, Connor looked really good, or not A&M, but Mississippi State looked really good against A&M. And, A&M actually beat Arkansas, so, I'm going to have to take Bulldogs in this one. They keep improving week in, week out.
Yeah, I'm going to rock with Arkansas. I think KJ Jefferson and company are going to pull off the shocker in Starkville. How about Mizzou at Florida? Two teams that have been slightly disappointing this season. Eli, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I got Florida. It's at Florida, which is a really hard place to play and play good. But Missouri's actually looking kind of decent. They almost gave Georgia a thriller in that one, but I'm about to go with the Gators.
Besides the Utah game, Florida has been, like I said way earlier this season, super inconsistent, super undisciplined. They show flashes of talent, flashes of greatness every week, every game, but they haven't sold me yet. Like I said, besides that Utah game, they played a great game week 1, but besides that, they haven't proved anything to me. Missouri looked more than decent against Georgia last week, which really surprised me. So I think that Missouri is going to have a little bit of fire going through this one. Traveling to the swamp, maybe they can get something done. So I have the Tigers here.
Yeah, I got to rock with Florida for this one. I think they're going to play really well at home in the swamp. It's hard for me to take Mizzou playing in Gainesville just because I think the swamp is crazy and home field in the SEC means everything. For our last SEC matchup, Texas A&M at Alabama. Y'all remember last year, A&M shocked Bama in College Station. So how are we feeling about this one this year?
I think that Alabama is going to win by a good score here. A&M just doesn't. They don't have the upset fire, whatever it may be, come into this
upset
game.
Magic.
It's in Tuscaloosa. Yeah, exactly. That's a better word. A&M looked like a much better team at this point last year. I think they only had one loss then, and this year they lost to Appalachian State. So that proves everything. A&M's still finding their offensive identity as well. Alabama, I think, has found it in the past 2-3 weeks. They didn't have it against Texas, but I think this is going to be a not close game at all.
Yeah, I think Bama wins this one by a couple of scores. A&M, it's kind of, I feel like they get worse every week. And like you said, Jake, like you said, Connor, they really haven't found their offensive identity, and their defense really isn't as good as it usually is. I guess all that NIL money really isn't paying off. So I got Bama.
Yeah, I got Bama. I don't really think I need to say anything else. Probably the most hyped up matchup of Week 6 of the college football season. We got shockingly number 17 ranked TCU and even more shockingly ranked 19 Kansas. This game is in Kansas. They got College game day for the first time in their school's history. Who do you guys have taken this one?
Rock, Chalk, Jayhawk. I love to see it. I love to see a team that's, been going 1-11, 2-10, 3-9 the past 5-6 years. They haven't done anything for college football besides beat Texas a couple times. So it's awesome to see that they're undefeated. I think this Kansas crowd is going to bring they're going to bring something. I don't know. We'll see. They show up for basketball games, so hopefully they'll show up to this football game. I forget Kansas' quarterback name, but he has one of the highest QBR ratings in the country right now. Kansas is moving. They only beat Iowa State by 3 last week. They're not a title contender. I think they might be a New Year's Six bowl contender, possibly, if they keep playing like this. I mean, I'm hopeful for that. That'd be
I think
awesome
we all
to
want to
them.
see that.
Yeah, absolutely. A 10-2 or 11-1 Kansas season would be a dream. I would love that.
America wants that.
Absolutely. This is what Vanderbilt should have been this season. But
Yeah,
I have the Jayhawks here. I think it'll be close.
I was about to mention, our America's team was Vanderbilt in the beginning, but it's kind of switched over to the Kansas Jayhawks. They're 5-0. Coming to this game, it's at their place. I don't really want Kansas to win. I think Kansas is going to win. So hopefully we see that this weekend. But yeah, Kansas.
Yeah, I think America's new team are the Kansas Jayhawks. I think we're all rooting for a New Year's Six bowl. So go Jayhawks. Biggest rivalry game of the week, we got Texas taking on Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry. This one is at the Cotton Bowl Stadium, so neutral site field. It'll surely be split between the two fan bases. Who do y'all have taken the Red River rivalry?
I have the Longhorns solely based on the fact that Oklahoma played a terrible football game last week. TCU is a great team, don't get me wrong, but they proved to me they were a great team last week. Oklahoma is in shambles right now. I don't know what's going on over there. Obviously, things are different. A lot of coaching changes, a lot of players left. It's going to be like this season. Texas is pretty mediocre. They're still without Ewers right now. I think if they had Ewers, it wouldn't be a close game on Saturday, but I have the Longhorns in a close one.
Eli?
Yeah. I got Texas in this one. I think, like you said, Connor, Oklahoma really they're not doing anything crazy this year as everybody, thought they would. But I got Texas. Their second-string quarterback, he really isn't playing too bad. He's playing as good as the second-string quarterback can play. So, yeah, I think I got Texas in this one.
This one is quite literally a coin flip for me. Coin landed on heads, so I'm taking Oklahoma. And then for our feature matchup of the day, we got our Auburn Tigers taking on the number 2 ranked Georgia Bulldogs in Athens. This one on paper is pretty lopsided. However, throughout the years, we've seen some shockers that Auburn has pulled off. For that reason, Eli, who do you have?
Man, it's going to take a lot for me to not pick Auburn, so I got Auburn in this one. The game that really sealed the deal for me as an Auburn fan for my life is I was at that game in 2013, the parade of Jordan Hare, and that was one of the craziest games I've ever been to in my entire life. And I like, the superstitious kind of feel you get with the oldest rivalry in the South with Auburn and Georgia. But, I think if Auburn can really get their offense to carry their momentum from the first quarter into the rest of the game, and this defense keeps playing as good as they do, we could actually see an upset in this one. So I got the Auburn Tigers.
Let's hope you're right. Connor?
It hurts to pick against Auburn. It really does. I do have the Georgia Bulldogs here. I would love to see Auburn win. This is probably going to be the only game this season where I actually pick against the Tigers. But I just think that Georgia's a lot. And as much as they've been playing to their competition this past week, it'll be a closer game than most think. Just another thing, we had 21 points scored on us unanswered last week against a pretty lackluster LSU offensive team. Can we beat Georgia? Yes, I think this Auburn team can beat anybody. I mean, I'm a little biased. Oh, we all are here at Strictly Auburn, but I have Georgia in a close one. Like I said, Auburn's going to cover. We're going to score the ball, and it would be great if Auburn won. But I do have Georgia here.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. It's really hard for me to pick against Auburn, but I have to. I mean, I was just looking up the box score back from Missouri, so we've been outscored from the second quarter on in football games. Missouri scored 14 points in the second quarter. We only scored 3 the rest of the game after the first. Last week, we scored 17 points in the first 20 minutes and then was shut out the rest of the game. So, excluding the first quarter, we have been outscored, I think, something crazy like 35 to 3. So, for that reason, I got Georgia. I think Georgia's going to steamroll Auburn in this one, and I quite frankly don't think it's going to be very close, even though I'm rooting that way. Just to be clear, we have been keeping track of all of our picks this season. Records currently stand at Eli and myself are tied at 14-5. Sorry, Connor, you are at 12-7, so you fall just 2 games back from us. But we are picking some more games this week, so who knows? Maybe you'll step up this week, tie us up in the standings.
That would be great. Wraps us up. My goal.
That wraps us up for Strictly Auburn Week 6, Georgia. Thank y'all for joining. Pleasure, as always. Let us know what y'all think we should be doing for next week. If this is good for away games or if y'all would rather see an in-person episode, make sure to drop a like, subscribe Strictly Auburn, or subscribe to Eagle Eye TV, pumping out football content. I'm also posting stuff on Laz Sports. Make sure to go like, subscribe, check out that on TikTok and YouTube. But yeah, other than that, War Eagle.
War Eagle.